From the station working for you, this is WRTV News at 11, streaming now.
And we start with the forecast again tonight. Good evening to you at 11 o'clock. I'm Mark Mullins.
And I'm Amanda Starantino. Temperatures are in the teens at this hour, and they will get even colder. Kevin, what can you tell us?
We're frozen in time, aren't we? Temperatures right now in the teens. That's the actual temperature. Let me show you the wind chill values. You factor in that north wind that's been anywhere from 10 to 20, and we've got single digits in Indy. It feels like 7 also in Peru and Muncie. Since not much is changing, we'll look for subtle differences in the forecast. There are a few flurries, Lafayette to Peru. Nothing of real consequence there. Those will fade away. Temperatures tomorrow in the low 20s. To the mid-20s in central Indiana and maybe a degree or two warmer south. The difference will be at least some sunshine breaking through. Not optimistic about a lot, but we'll take some. Look at this. Snow chances ahead. Saturday, Monday, and Thursday. That's what we'll talk about when I come back in just a few minutes.
Most of Marion County's COVID restrictions remain in place until further notice. Leaders gave an update this afternoon. One thing that is changing is guidelines to visit assisted living facilities indoors. Now, in addition to people who have tested negative for COVID within 72 hours, acceptable visitors include people who have natural immunity due to a COVID diagnosis within 90 days and people who are vaccinated. Today's update largely focused on vaccines. When asked about vaccinating teachers, the director of the Marion County Public Health Department said the county cannot stray from the state's eligibility guidelines. Dr. Virginia Kane says even Mayor Joe Hogsett is no exception.
I tried to let me get the mayor be vaccinated, and they said, no way, Jose, because he didn't meet the eligibility criteria. And they made it very clear to me, some other counties who did not follow the rules, they were told, if you don't stop in the seats, we're going to stop providing you vaccination at all. So it is a tough situation for us because the teachers are really critical. We know we need them to be in those classrooms. But hey, I got Indy bus drivers that is just as important. They're picking up people that are high risk. I got air traffic controllers. They're bringing in our vaccine to us.
Dr. Kane says she is hopeful the department will receive a large shipment of the vaccine by March 15th. And right now in Indiana, anyone age 65 and older, long-term care residents, first responders, and healthcare workers are eligible for the COVID-19 vaccine. You can make an appointment through the state's website, ourshot.in.gov, or by calling 211. Supply is limited, so appointments are not guaranteed. The health department encourages people to check the website often.
If you're eligible for the COVID vaccine, you can now get your shot at Kroger. As of today, the grocery chain is offering the vaccine in all 113 of its pharmacies across the Hoosier state. A spokesperson says Kroger will be able to vaccinate 100 people per week at each location. This rollout is part of a federal effort to get more doses to people. Some shoppers tell WRTV this will make getting vaccinated more convenient.
I think it's great if Kroger does it because the one place I go about every other day is the grocery store. And, you know, why drive over 17 different places when you can go to just one? So, yeah, this is a good way to do it.
You can register for a vaccine at a Kroger pharmacy at Kroger.com. Walk-ins are not accepted and you must be eligible.
While the vaccine is creating hope, the pandemic continues to take Hoosier lives. WRTV is helping families make sure those lives are not forgotten.
She had this amazing strength, fierceness about her. She never gave up on things. She was a very silly, quirky person. She made friends with anybody that she would meet.
Family members describe Bobby Cassidy as a caring and giving woman. She was a mother, sister, grandmother, and great-grandmother. The 62-year-old moved to a nursing home after being diagnosed with Parkinson's disease. A surge of COVID cases hit the facility over the holidays. Cassidy's daughter received a phone call on Christmas Day that her mom had COVID-19.
She got really, really sick. She got to the point where she had to have oxygen. It just went downhill from there. It happened really, really fast. They did tell me that it's a possibility that she's waiting for you to leave because she didn't want me to see it.
Bethany Cassidy sat next to her mother, holding her hand while wearing full PPE gear for 13 hours. Shortly after she left the hospital, Bobby Cassidy died on January 17th. If you have lost a loved one to COVID-19 and want to honor their life and legacy, email us at facesofcovid@wrtv.com.
A long debate, but no decision. Today, state lawmakers discussed a proposal that could create financial penalties against Indigo. The hearing on Senate Bill 141 lasted more than an hour. Legislators did not vote on it. We told you about this bill last night on the news at 11. Currently, Indigo must fund at least 10% of its operating budget from sources other than taxes and fares, and at least 25% of its budget for expanded routes must come from fares. There are no consequences if those two conditions are not met. That would change if Senate Bill 141 passes and could lead to millions in funding cuts. The bill has been held to a future meeting, likely next week. We'll continue to follow the legislation and how it could impact you.
More than a dozen organizations are getting thousands of dollars to repair and preserve African-American landmarks across Indiana. The grants come from funds honoring Eli Lilly's first black chemist, Stanford Cox, who advocated for the preservation of these important locations before his death 2 years ago. WRTV's Cameron Riddle takes us to one Indy landmark that will benefit from his legacy.
On the northeast corner of 22nd Street and Central Avenue sits the Prince Hall Masonic Temple, an official landmark of Indiana and Hoosier Black history.
As far as the history of this room, oh my God, does it go back. The history goes back once again all the way to 1915.
The century-old Prince Hall is home to a number of lodges and chapters of Freemasonry, the oldest fraternity organization in the world.
Our mission is to make good men better.
The Indianapolis Lodge and building gets its name from Prince Hall himself, the first black man to become a Freemason in 1775. Hall established the first black Freemason lodge after being denied to the mainstream organization of all white men. 246 years later, the building that houses the local members of the group Hall founded are caring for their Indianapolis location, which, after 100 years, needs some work done. Board President Ronell Griffey took us inside their sacred sanctuary.
See these dent spots in the ceiling here? You can just about tell where your problems are. Just look up at the ceiling and go, oh, we got a problem there, guys.
Over the years, the roof has become a source of leaks during a heavy rain, and a full replacement could cost up to $40,000. But that's not all. After centuries of service, the boiler eventually went out and has since been replaced by a furnace.
Oh my God, does it ever need love and update?
Despite hosting hundreds of community members over the years, the last true facelift of this building was more than 30 years ago. That's why Indiana Landmarks is stepping in with a $9,000 grant to provide this piece of Indiana history the care it deserves. That's exciting news for Griffey and his members who love this building and are working to keep this landmark open and standing strong.
We do the best we can here. We have survived a long time in this building.
Cameron Riddle, WRTV.
WRTV is also taking time this Black History Month to recognize those who are shaping the future of their communities. A local business owner known for going above and beyond for those around her is now taking some time to take care of herself. WRTV's Cornelius Hawker shares the story of a woman who uses her life experiences to help others through their challenging times.
Jacque Morrell, better known as Lady J, used to keep such a busy schedule because of her life's mantra.
First, I'm a servant before I'm anything. Anything that I do has to serve other people.
In serving people, she's worn many hats.
I'm an author, a speaker, a serial entrepreneur, mentor, bounce back coach, business coach.
Her will to serve people was born out of trauma.
I've survived being kidnapped and raped. I've been, molested. I was homeless, addicted to drugs, anything you can imagine. I was attempted suicide several times as a teen.
But through all of that, she's found purpose.
I understood that everything that I had gone through was not just for me, but for other people.
This has led Lady J to start several organizations and businesses. From No Limits Ministry, Inc. to Business Bangers Spotlight, Lady J devotes her time and attention to those who need help.
People will call me in the middle of the night. Somebody could be, suicidal. There could be a show that needs to go on.
But that willingness to put others before herself came at a cost.
It was a lot. I was doing a lot. I wasn't listening to my body. I suffered a ruptured brain aneurysm in August 2019.
Lady J found herself, for the first time in a long time, having to rely on the help of others.
I almost didn't make it. They didn't expect me to make it. So I just completed 16 months of rehab at the second week of January of this year.
She tells me there are still some limitations to what she can do, but there's been a silver lining to all of this.
Now I just am a little bit more strategic about how I go about things. I have to be now, and in doing that, now the company has grown even bigger.
She's talking about Ego Entertainment Network, based here in Indianapolis. It's a multimedia production company where her vision helps other people become their best selves.
You are possible. Tell people all the time, if I'm possible, then you're possible. We're all possible. It doesn't matter what your background is.
She leaves us with this parting advice for anyone who's ever been through challenging circumstances.
After all of the hell you went through, the word through is an indication that you defeated the impossible too. New adversities will come, but overcoming them has already made you unstoppable. The favor over your life incomparable, which gives you the right to think and believe I'm possible.
Such encouraging words there. That was Cornelius Hawker reporting. Despite COVID-19 and her more than year of rehab, Lady J has been staying busy within reason. She continues to do speaking engagements virtually and is always willing to try to help those in need.
Coming up, where the impeachment trial of Donald Trump stands tonight and what's next.
And also ahead tonight, UNCF Indiana is going virtual for its annual effort to support Hoosier students. Every year, the organization raises money and awareness to help black students at historically black colleges and universities. Our Rafael Sanchez and WRTV legend Barbara Boyd will host the Throwback Telethon. You can watch it tomorrow evening at 7:30, live on WRTV and streaming online.
Monday only at Ashley Home Store.
From the station working for you, this is WRTV News at 11, streaming now.
Tomorrow, President Trump's defense team will take its turn presenting arguments in the second impeachment trial of the now former president. ABC's Faith Abube reports the Democrats rested their case this afternoon after introducing more evidence.
House impeachment managers concluding their argument against former President Donald Trump, saying his historic second impeachment trial is as much about the deadly January 6th insurrection.
He struck a match, and he aimed it straight at this building, at us,
as it is about the nation's future.
And think about it. Every foreign adversary considering attacking this building got to watch a dress rehearsal, and they saw that this Capitol could be overtaken.
Democrats taking senators who are seated as jurors through the January 6th Capitol Hill riot, frame by frame, using the perspective of Trump's own supporters to show how the mob repeatedly echoed the former president's words.
All of you people really came up with, we will stop the steal. Yeah! Stop the steal! Stop the steal!
And then acted on his orders.
We are listening to Trump. You're the boss.
The impeachment managers arguing that Trump started encouraging the mob long before the insurrection, and even after the deadly siege, has shown no remorse.
People thought that what I said was totally appropriate.
You know, I'm not afraid of Donald Trump running again in 4 years. I'm afraid he's going to run again and lose, because he can do this again.
After 3 days of graphic and emotional videos from inside the riot, some Republicans saying they were moved by the Democrats' case.
They've done very well. I think that's generally conceded.
The evidence that has been presented thus far is pretty damning.
But the majority still a long way from voting with Democrats to convict Trump. The former president's defense lawyer saying the House manager's case lacked context.
Oh, I wouldn't prejudge anything, but he should not be convicted, I'll tell you that.
Trump's defense team will begin their opening arguments tomorrow. They've already indicated it'll be short because, quote, the trial never should have happened. On Capitol Hill, Faith Abube, ABC News.
Kevin Gregory joins us now with our forecast and some chilly temperatures. And I see you also have that countdown to spring that I have been checking off on the calendar.
That's where I got it, my peripheral vision. I saw your calendar, and there it is. I wish we could just get to 37 degrees, let alone 37 days from spring arriving. If you need a motivational speech, hang in there. Eventually, this is why we love Indiana weather. When we snap out of this and have a 40-degree day, it'll feel like a new 60-degree day. Temperatures across the basically entire country are experiencing what we have, below average temperatures by 15 to 20 degrees. You have to get to South Florida to find some warmth, and that's really until further notice. The 25th of February, temperatures stay well below average. Let me mention Monday into Tuesday first, because that has potentially the more significant impact on central and southeastern Indiana. The storm track is still in question. It's still early. This particular model has been trending a little more to the south and east. See the darker blues down along the Ohio River, Louisville to Cincinnati? It's where maybe some of the heavier snow will be, but these models tend to waver a bit this far out. This storm will come at us from the Gulf Coast starting over the weekend and then move northeast from there. Kind of a quiet Friday. Temperatures in the mid-20s. The mixture of clouds and sunshine more likely for the first half of the day. As we step into the weekend, we'll also step into even colder temperatures on Valentine's Day. Not perfect probably for you, but cold, 12 degrees, dry. The snow Saturday will accumulate light accumulations, maybe an inch or two. Let me show you if we put this in motion. Notice to the south and east, see that little strip of snow from Bloomington to Columbus and Greensburg, Bedford and Seymour. That's where the hint is. We could see an inch of accumulation in that little strip. Then also in northern Indiana, closer to the state line with Michigan, maybe a couple of inches. Temperatures on Sunday, the coldest in the entire 7-day planner. Wind chills near zero through the day. A mixture of clouds and sunshine and temperatures in the teens. As we go to next week with the Monday, Tuesday snow, temperatures very cold. They're in the teens. Then we'll keep an eye on that third weather system. We'll kind of take these in order, though. We'll start focusing on the Thursday night, Friday potential snow once we get through Monday night and Tuesday. Can't deal with it all at once, or I would just really not focus on anything. See, I lost my focus just trying to tell you that. Mark?
We just know it's going to be cold, Kevin. It's going to be cold, and it's late. Thanks, Kevin. The Jefferson Award for Multiplying Good salutes the men and women who give a little extra of themselves to improve our corner of the world without expecting recognition. But the Multiplying Good organization also invests in shaping the future through our young people. This week, the organization is hosting the Students in Action Conference virtually. Dozens of high school students from around central Indiana and neighboring states are taking part. They're learning leadership skills, public presentation skills, and peer mentoring. WRTV collaborated in this effort. I led a workshop on storytelling today. The students discussed how stories are everywhere in books, movies, gatherings with friends, and even in songs. And we learned about the 5 W's that make up a story.
You can use the chat box to tell me what you see, who you see, what you see, where you think it is, when you think it is, and why what's happening is happening, okay?
I think that the 2 people holding up plants are going to meet each other with their dogs.
We could all be in the same room. We could all be at the same event. But the stories that we tell people later could be very different, depending on our backgrounds, depending on what we zeroed in on, what we saw. And it's important to respect those different perspectives in our storytelling.
I shared a still drawing with the group and directed each student to write a story. It was an exercise in perspective and communication. The Multiplying Good Students in Action is a youth service, leadership, and recognition program.
Indianapolis.com.
Welcome back. Purdue tipped off an important Big Ten game on the road tonight, and football season is just getting started for one Central Indiana team. Our Brad Brown starts with how the Marion Knights are getting ready to return to the field.
From the sidelines, it feels like football is a long way off. But on the field at Marion, week 1 has finally arrived.
So same drill. This side's on offense. Run!
You know, so much of football is chemistry, team chemistry, getting that team to really bond together. And that's been really difficult is just finding opportunities, outside of practice to, get groups of guys together.
The Knights will kick off their 2020 schedule this weekend, nearly 6 months after the original dates. The NAIA moved much of its fall sports calendar back to a spring season. And while the weather won't feel like it, Marion's entire team is ready to get back in action.
I mean, you can only practice against your friends for so long and get fired up to hit them every single day, you know what I mean? So it's going to be a good feeling when we're walking out on that field on Saturday, knowing that we're playing someone else.
COVID protocols have changed so much about practices and putting a team together. Marion's experience up and down their roster could pay off as they dive into this unique situation.
Our coaches did an excellent job, keeping our heads straight, not letting us hang our heads thinking that we weren't going to have a season. They just kept pushing us, kept being positive about the thing. And, that fed off to players and everybody else.
Just having such great leadership on both sides of the ball really has made this challenge less of a challenge for us, and just being able to go stack good days on top of each other and just put ourselves in the position we want to be come Saturday.
Nearly 14 months will have passed since Marion's last game, the 2019 NAIA Championship, where the Knights fell short in their bid to win a 3rd national title. Having to wait so long has given this team an extra hunger to climb that mountain again.
It was kind of hard at first, just the uncertainty of whether or not we would have a season or just the uncertainty of it all. But now that we're focused and we're locked in, we know we're going to have a season. I think we're all just really looking forward to it.
The time away from the game has really made them, it's kind of given them a sense of appreciation for the opportunity to go out and play. And, they're just excited to have the chance to play the game.
Purdue taking what turned out to be a frustrating loss at Minnesota on Thursday night. Trevion Williams was very good again, 24 points and 10 rebounds. He would give Purdue the lead with under a minute to go, but the final 25 seconds were a total mess. Marcus Carr made a 3 to give the Golden Gophers the lead. Purdue then turned it over. A couple of free throws had them down by 3. Sasha Stefanovic had a shot to tie it at the end, but it's no good. 71-68 for Minnesota. Purdue falls to 8-6 in the Big Ten. That's back to 6th place. The Boilermakers play at home against Michigan State on Tuesday. Brad Brown, WRTV Sports.
Calories. Live life comfortably.
Friday forecast, that just rolls off the tongue. It sounds good, doesn't it? As we gain momentum into the weekend, we won't gain any warmth. 23, that's compared to the average high of 39. Temperatures Saturday at 23, some light snow possible. Only 12 on Valentine's Day, Sunday. Amanda?
It's going to be a chilly Valentine's Day, so I hope you have some warm hearts for that. And a Friday forecast sounds great.